Morning, class. Today we're going to talk about water health and consumption and the impact of climate change on water consumption and health. The topics that we're going to discuss today is stating the uses of water, identifying environmental factors that affect water quality and health, examining the roles and responsibilities of women and children in families as they relate to water consumption and health. I know you gentlemen play an important role, but today we're just going to focus on the females and the children for that matter. Interpreting the impact of climate change on water quality and health, and developing a plan of action to conserve water. So today is going to be basically what we call Water Day. We're going to be talking about lots of water. I hope you don't get too thirsty. Right? Now, in front of you, you have a sheet of paper called water usage. And I would like you to more or less approximate, how many gallons of water do you think you use per week for the following: drinking, bathing or taking a shower, brushing your teeth, washing clothes, washing dishes, washing car, bathing your dog, flushing toilet, cooking, watering plants, washing hands, or if there's something else that you use water for, you can list it down at the bottom. So just an approximate, you don't need to I don't know what a gallon is or something like that. You can just kind of estimate how much of gallons, how much you think you use for each one of these items. So quickly fill that out for me, please. Now I'm sure that you gave some very interesting estimates. How many people used about 10 gallons to take a shower? Anyone near to it? Lloyd, how many gallons did you put for your shower?
13 gallons.
You said 13 gallons. It's a very interesting answer. How about you, Travis? How many gallons would you take to use a shower?
10, miss.
About 10 gallons. Okay. Well, I'm about to show you a video of students like you. Some of them are a little bit older at a university, and they did a survey about some of these same activities. And it was very alarming to them how many gallons or liters of water that they were actually using, right? So have a look at this video, and then we'll see if maybe some of you might change your responses.
%.
77.345%.
70%. Goods.
So it's about
66%. 20%.
Let's say around 20%.
Mommy?
75%.
It's actually 1.
Really?
Yeah.
1%.
1%? It's actually 1. Oh, wow. 36.
335.
Oh, that's really bad. 9.
335 liters.
Wow.
60.
60 liters?
Yeah.
It's actually 335.
335?
Yeah.
Oh.
Becker's the overconsumption type, so I'm going to say 32. 350?
424. 20. 424.
400 liters.
424.
It's pretty
Say with the shower in the morning, and the water bottle at supper. Say about the average, 32 liters a day.
Probably about 300, given those stats.
750.
Probably like 375.
700.
Okay, add everything up together, probably 600 liters.
Okay. Shower.
Washroom.
The dishwasher.
Kitchen.
Actually, the washroom.
I think it's 12 liters. 2-3 liters
15, 19 liters.
each time.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Half a liter. It's actually 15 to 19 liters.
$50?
100 liters.
Oh my god.
30?
100.
Oh.
4. It's actually 100. So how many liters?
Yeah. So, wait, how many again?
100.
100 for 5 minutes. Yeah, 100 liters of water.
So if you take a 10-minute shower, you're wasting 200 liters of water.
Wow.
100 liters.
In a 5-minute shower?
Exactly.
Oh.
So your shower lasts like 45 minutes.
Mine lasts like 45 minutes.
Oh wow, I don't even want to think about that.
I feel like 5 liters.
What's the project for market research?
It is 50 liter.
40.
15 liters.
Let's say 5 to 10 liters.
Actually 35 liters.
Dirt.
Yeah.
And a wash.
Yeah.
A liter. 5 liters.
4 liters.
10 liters.
Oh my god.
3 liters.
10 liters.
10 liters to wash my teeth.
Half of a liter, right?
No, 10.
10 liters.
Yeah.
To brush my teeth.
To brush your teeth.
Like when you leave the... Yeah. One of those.
Quarter of a liter. 0.5.
2 liters.
2 liters. Like 10 milliliters.
2 liters.
1 liter.
2.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of water.
It is a lot of water.
500 milliliters.
Half liter. 5 liters.
Actually 8.
Pressure from the source.
Okay.
Bottled in the French Alps. The cap is dirty. Well, for the bottles, they're more portable.
Convenience, right?
Convenience, yes.
Okay.
Drink tap water.
No, I use tap water all the time. I have an aluminum water bottle.
It tastes better.
Really?
Yeah.
dozen?
It actually takes 7 liters
4 to what?
to produce one empty.
That's crazy.
I know.
For one, I can start drinking water from the tap and probably take shorter showers, watch less clothes every day. I don't know, that's about it.
I gotta stop buying so many water bottles, a lot of the tap water, take shorter showers, shower less. Not shower.
Not take 45 minutes shower. Yeah.
Anything else?
Wash dishes by hand, I'm guessing. Uses less water.
Stop drinking out of water bottles.
Faster showers and like turn off the tap when you brush your teeth.
Buy a Brita filter.
What else?
Take shorter showers, but yeah, I guess I could do that. Maybe close the sink when you brush your teeth and wash your dishes.
Stop playing with close the knob from the tap when I'm brushing my teeth, and drink water from the tap instead of buying water bottles, because you need 7 liters to produce a water bottle. And hand wash my dishes instead of
Using the dishwasher.
exactly.
Drink less bottled water, avoid running the tap, take shorter showers, I guess, use those economically efficient toilet
Close the tap water when I'm washing my hands, brushing my teeth. When I'm shampooing my hair, close the faucet again. Don't be lazy and wash dishes by hand.
I hope this video made us look at water a bit differently. And to gather some of your thoughts, you have on your desk in front of you a piece of paper called graffiti. What is graffiti? How many people have heard the term graffiti before? Show me by a raise of hands. People have heard the term graffiti before? Excellent. So who can tell me what graffiti is? Probably on your school fence, they would write numbers, they would draw pictures with spray cans and spray paint and so on. Whether it's related to gang or whether it's just a decoration. Nobody has seen that on any of our fences? Yes? So that is a form of graffiti, right? It's like writing on a wall. So you have a wall in front of you, and it's called graffiti. And there's a section on that wall that says video thoughts. So can you turn it to the section that says video thoughts? In each of your groups, write some thoughts from that video. Has that video made you think about water a bit differently? What were some of the shocking information that you just learned about water? So just write about 2 things, 2 thoughts, 2 ideas that came from the video. Quickly write it on your wall. Let's get some sharing going then. What are some of your thoughts from the video? Yes?
One of our thought was the approximation of water use was really high.
The approximation of water use, you mean what people said or what we actually use?
What we actually use.
What we actually use. So we do consume a lot of water. Very good point. Yes, Rodolfo?
Most people are not aware of the amount of water that they use each and every day and are actually surprised by that amount.
Yes, very good point. What about this table?
I thought that the video was very educational because it helped us to realize how much water we are using and that we should use less every time we
Very good point, Jamie. Can I have a response from the last table, please?
To make one bottle, it takes 7 liters of water.
To make one plastic bottle, it takes 7 liters of water. Very interesting information we just gathered about water consumption. It took about 15 to 19 liters of water to do simple things like brush our teeth, to rinse our toothbrush and so forth. If we would have used a cup full of water to brush our teeth and to rinse our toothbrush and so forth, it would save a lot of water, wouldn't it? But most of us have the behavior that we would just go and turn on the faucet, right, and let it run while we brush our teeth, while we rinse the toothbrush, and while we put back the toothpaste, and then afterwards we will turn off back the water. Some of us have the habit of doing all kinds of things in the shower, right? While we wash our hair, for females who shave their legs, for boys who shave, we would leave the water running. If somebody calls us out of the shower to answer a phone or something, we would leave the water running, come out of the shower, and then go back into the shower. So there are a lot of water consumption taking place every single day. Have you ever thought about how much water you've used before? By a show of hands, how many people have actually sit back and go, well, I wonder how much water I've used ever in my life for anything? How many people? Okay, that's good. Rodolfo, you've thought about it. Well, I hope that now you're going to make a conscious effort, and every time you do some kind of activity that pertains to water, you're going to think about how much water you use and ways in which you can reduce your water consumption. Here are some water facts that I'd like to share with you. Essential for human activity and survival of all life forms. So water is very essential. In the video we noticed that only 1% of the water in the entire world is drinkable. 1%. Water is found in 3 different forms: liquid, solid, or gas, depending on the temperature, and it constantly changes from one form to another. It is used for agricultural, industrial, household, recreational, and environmental activities. Water is an essential element for human survival, and the combination of drinking safe water, adequate sanitation, and hygiene are recognized as fundamental to human well-being. So drinking safe water, proper sanitation, and proper hygiene allows us to be healthy individuals. That is the fundamental basis of being healthy. Water is also essential for food security, for the environment, and for sustainable development. A lack of water resource management, unsafe drinking water, and lack of sanitation are key links in the cycle of food insecurity, poor growth, disease, malnutrition, and poverty. So we find out, after listening to these facts, that water is very essential. And a lot of times, because we have access to drinking water, we have access to proper hygiene, we have access to bathroom, we take water for granted. And the persons who really know the quality of water or how much water is worth are the people who are probably going through drought in many countries, or who don't have access to drinking water. People who don't have access to a bathroom that is maybe toilet flush, that they would have to back water from a faucet or from a well. So those are the people who will probably think more about water consumption. And later on in the lesson, we're going to see some women from Kenya who have to do some of those things just to get water. Right? So let us start thinking about how essential water is. Now we have a short experiment that we'd like you to do about water quality. Now behind your water usage sheet, you have the instructions for the experiment. I would like to ask Christian to kindly read the introduction for us.
Introduction. All living things require clean water for survival. Human activities can add materials to water that make water unfit for use or pollute the water. Polluted or dirty water affects the lives of plants and animals to the point of making them unhealthy. In extreme cases, polluted water can kill plants or animals. The best solution to water pollution is to prevent it from happening. This is not always possible, so methods have been devised to remove some pollutant from waters. Filters are used to remove sediment. Disturbed soil is a natural filter. As water passes through it, pollutants are trapped. There are also human-made filters. For example, drinking water treatment plant use sand filter. Other filters like silt, screens, and straw bales are used for construction sites. Filters help clean water, but do not remove all of the pollutants. Filters do not necessarily remove some contaminants, such as soluble chemicals and bacteria.
Thank you very much, Christian. Now if you turn over to the other sheet of paper, you have our procedures. Now you have the necessary materials in front of you, and so we're just going to follow along as indicated in the procedures. So you can assign a member of your group to do some of the instructions. You're going to pour water into 2 clear plastic glasses. You're going to set one aside. You're going to add items such as pencil shavings, paper strips, styrofoam, any kind of items that you'd see here in your containers in front of you. You're going to add them into the water. You're going to take filtering material to top off polluted glass and have students filter off water into a separate glass. You're going to compare the 2 glasses and discuss the importance of clean water for drinking, swimming, and bathing. You should pour water into one of your glasses, the empty one. Now, you're going to add the items, and you don't have to put all of them, but some of each. You're going to add those into the first container. So add a little bit. Here we have vinegar. So you're going to add a little bit of vinegar also. You're going to take a little bit of each item, and you're going to add them into your container with water. You can use your ruler to mix it around a little. You're going to take this jar here that you have the container, and you're going to pour the contents very slowly because some of it is bulky, and you're going to pour it over the filter paper. Okay? You might need to do so very slowly because the area is small on top and we don't want the filter paper to fall in. To just leave the filters so that the water can continue to trickle, and then we'll come back and we're going to discuss what we see. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, kind of just put the jars a little bit to the side and just leave your water so that it continues to filter. Now, there are many factors that affect how clean water is when we're about to drink it, or clean water that we need for consumption, clean water that we need for washing our clothes, water that we need for cooking food, for washing our hands. And there are very many environmental factors that influence it. So when water is polluted, it causes a problem, and it causes us to have to filter a lot of water. Some environmental factors that affect water quality and human health are emission of radon gas, high levels of mercury in water sources, lead, acid rain, minerals that enter water bodies through runoffs, and industrial waste material. A lot of times we just take for granted and we may throw paper on the ground, pencil shavings. We see a lot of these on the street. We see a lot of these in schools. And those are a lot of pollutants to water. We might not have humans necessarily using the water off the ground that may have in these types of materials to drink or so forth, but you might have animals who want to drink water. And think about a little dog, or even a stray animal on the street, wanted to drink water, and the only water that it has to access is from a puddle in your schoolyard or a puddle near your home. And if you look carefully, you might see some of these same objects in that puddle. Some of these same pollutants, such as pencil shavings, such as paper. We might see other things like a plastic cup, right? So we find out that all of these things are environmental factors that affect how clean our water is and the distribution of clean water throughout the world. Now, not everyone has access to water or access to clean water. And that poses a huge problem for us because a lot of people who are responsible for providing water to their homes are women. And sometimes the woman in homes or the head of the family, who is a female, may have to delegate some of that responsibility to children. So women and children are responsible for a lot of water consumption. And depending on the type of water that is consumed, whether it's clean or water that is polluted, it can also affect their health. Now, I'd like you to watch a video, and it refers to some women and their water consumption. These females live in Kenya.
In central Kenya, the burden to collect water has always rested on the shoulders of the women. But under the weight of a 15-year-long drought, this burden has become almost unbearable.
Water is a woman issue. When that water is not there, it's the woman who spends her whole day looking for water.
The women of Kwibenzi village start their search for water at 3 a.m. They walk 3 hours to the nearest well, then spend another 3 hours collecting as much water as they can. They return home 11 hours later, exhausted and starving.
Most of them had continuous headaches. They thought it was normal to have a backache because they had backache throughout their life. And a woman who is expectant, you carry that water on your back for those many kilometers. Most women have miscarriages.
To keep their families alive, every drop these women carry back must be used for cooking and drinking, leaving nothing for other basic needs.
Hygiene issues was a big problem. Women and children were not washing themselves. Women used actually to use cow urine to wash utensils. And they used to clean their children's faces using saliva.
But under the guidance of community worker Mary Obiero, things are about to change. The women plan to build a sand dam, a project that will ensure a constant water supply. Each year, this dry riverbed near their village floods for several weeks, but the water quickly disappears down the valley before the villagers can use it. The proposed sand dam will block not only the floodwater, but over time, also trap the sand that gets carried along with it. The trapped sand sponges up the water, then acts as an underground storage tank which the villagers can dig into during the dry season. With a plan laid out, the building begins. 100 villagers, mostly women, mix concrete by hand and use stones to shore up the wall. It's a 12-hour day, but there's no time to rest, because with the drought getting more severe, building the dam is now a matter of life and death.
A community that lacks water lacks everything. There is no food, there is no sanitation. There's a lot of diseases. Children die before they see their first birthday.
Within this community, one group suffers the most: the girls.
Many times, girl child, they accompany their mothers to go and look for water. Then this girl would not go to school.
And if there are younger siblings at home, the older girls stay behind to take care of them. For the few girls who do attend school, their education is interrupted every month when they have their period. Without water, they can't clean themselves. They stay out of the classroom, which puts them further and further behind their male classmates. Eventually, they drop out. It's 3 weeks later, and the sand dam's complete. Now, it's a waiting game. It's only been a few months, and life here has already been revolutionized. The sand dam has matured. The once 11-hour trek has been reduced to just 30 minutes. And the women only have to dig a few inches into the accumulated sand to reach the trapped water.
Women now have the energy. They are putting that energy into small-scale farming. Almost every household have vegetables. The hygiene of the women have really changed. They have washed their clothes, they have bathed their bodies, and they are just clean.
We feel very much blessed to have the water because now our life is very simple. You just take 2 minutes, you go to your kitchen, you prepare food. Now the life is very, very, very enjoyable.
Now that water's in easy reach, there's enough for cooking, drinking, and washing. And girls are now able to return to school permanently.
It's the women themselves that have done this. They want to change their lives and change their lives for the better. And they want their children to live a better life.
Okay, I'd like you to quickly, just in your groups, just to come up with one thought from the video. One thing that stood out from the video, an idea. Quickly. Think about the role of the female and what it plays in response to water and water consumption. What are some of your thoughts? One from each table, and I'd like to start at the back.
Women and children are affected the most by housework.
They are
Affected the most by housework.
They are affected the most by housework. Okay, would you like to explain a little bit though, Travis? You said they're affected the most by housework. Did you mean that they're affected the most because they have to do some more housework? Is that what you meant? Because women tend to care more for the home. Is that what you meant? Okay, that's a very good point, Travis. Females are affected because females are usually, they take care of your homes, right? Females are the ones who are going to make a lot of noise if the dishes aren't washed, right? Or they're the ones who have to wash the dishes. So generally, the female is the person who takes care of the home. And I'm using generally because our gender roles do change from time to time, and you do have some males who do some of those household activities. But females are usually the ones who ensure that the clothes get washed. They ensure that everybody bathes to time, brushes their teeth to time, that we have drinking water in the home and so forth. So that's an excellent point. This table?
Mother and children spend a variety of time looking for water, while we just use the water doing other activities and wasting it.
Very good point. And this table?
Water plays a key role in the household of a woman.
Water plays a key role in the household of a woman. Why would you say that, Jahid?
Because they need more water than males, because they have a certain...
They have more hygiene needs, perhaps?
They have more hygiene needs than...
Can I have this table?
Ladies use the water for hygiene, and we tend to abuse the water. Meanwhile, other countries really need it.
Okay, all right. So you were comparing your situation at home here in Belize with that of Kenya. It is very excellent. That's an excellent answer, because I was just going to ask you the question, how would the lifestyle that we have in Belize relate to those females that are in Kenya? In Belize, we might not experience that type of hardship that they would experience, that before they built their sand dam, they had to take 11 hours out of the day just to access water, right? As opposed to us who just need to turn on a faucet, or we might go to a well, or we might go to some type of water storage tank. So these people have to go through a lot more than us. However, we must remember that they're experiencing this because of probably drought issues or climate change issues that are already affecting their part of the world. If the climate change and effects continue to occur and global warming, we stated in previous lessons that there might be two extreme effects. We might have too much flooding, we might have drought, we might have excess rainfall, or we might have drought periods. Now those either extreme causes water consumption issues. If we have extreme rainfalls, and which will cause flooding, we might have a lot of pollutants in the water, so that there might be limited access to clean water. If there is drought, that would be something similar to what is happening in Kenya, that we might not have access to any water. And we realize then the importance of water when we can look at the experience that other people in the world are having, right? And that is why we need to start to make the changes here. We need to start to conserve water. And I hope that this lesson today is going to impact you, that you're going to make a conscious decision to start to conserve water and realize the impact it has, not only that we just get drinking water to wash clothes, but the impact it also has on our health issues, our hygiene issues. So women and water consumption. We use it for household chores, we use it for cooking, for cleaning, for washing, childbearing, and child care. A baby needs to be bathed every day. We have a lot of females and hygiene issues, and you need to keep yourself clean on a daily basis. Food production. Most females are the persons in their home who have to cook. Water is very essential to cooking. Sanitation needs and education. Right? We noticed in the video in Kenya, because the girls had their menstruation and did not have enough water to keep themselves clean on a daily basis, that they had to take a lot of time out of school. So if their period or their menstruation was 3 to 7 days, they had to take all that time out of school, which for practically every month, they would lose about 3 to 5 to 7 days worth of learning. And that caused them to be behind in their education. So water impacts us in almost every aspect of our lives. Because we know that water is essential, we also need to talk about climate change and how climate change impacts water and health. So this is a very short video, and I'd like you to just look at it. And immediately after watching the video, I need you to write 1 point on your graffiti wall, okay?
One of the 5 things that you should know about global climate change is that water conservation is just as important as energy conservation. And in 2007, Enviromedia did a national poll and found that only 1 of 3 Americans could accurately identify the natural source of their drinking water. When people do know where their water comes from, they are 2 times as likely to conserve. Today we're here on Lake Travis, and we're going to talk to the Water Utility Director of how they managed the 2006 drought, getting water from this lake into the treatment plant to your home. And we'll also talk with an EPA Advisory Committee Chairman about the future of water and climate change.
Of course, we're all concerned about climate change, especially long-term climate change. We're concerned about it in terms of it possibly may cause longer and hotter summers. And if that's the case, it will put a considerable strain on our water treatment plant and our ability to produce enough water for our customers. Right now we have 2 or 3 months during the summer where we are putting out at or near maximum capacity. Should the climate change significantly, that might change to 5 or 6 months where we have to put out maximum capacity. That would have a very detrimental effect on the equipment and eventually on our ability to provide water.
Securing future water supplies has become more important and more contentious. John Howard, Chairman of the EPA Advisory Committee on Policy and Technology, explains.
I do think that water is getting to be the new oil in the sense that it's valued much more. Water supplies are much more stringent. Obviously, we don't have the international issues yet, somebody else supplying us with water. But we do have a limited supply in the U.S. Impacted by weather on a yearly basis. And water not only drives our ability to live, but also much of our economy. There's an incredible nexus between energy and water right now that has not been explored to date. So you may get a lot of water, but you may have needed to use a lot of electricity. That is also an issue that we're looking at, particularly as you look at climate change issues. They're all related.
You should know, even with climate change, water will always be available, but at what cost? Expenditures required to power water treatment plants and develop new sources of water have skyrocketed and will continue to rise. Clearly, conservation is the easiest way to extend our water supply.
Okay, now record any thought on the video on your graffiti wall. Any thought from the video on your graffiti wall. Thought from each table, and let's start off with our table in the front. Kindly remember to just take up the volume of your voices.
If we waste too much water, the price of the water will rise.
Okay, if we waste too much water, the price of the water will rise. Okay, very good point. So the cost of water is going to go up. If we have limited water in the future because of wasting water today, water is going to start to become very expensive. Very good point. Next table.
Water conservation is important as energetic conservation.
Water conservation is as important as energy conservation. Very good point. And they also affect each other, right? So that's an excellent point. Next table.
We use energy and water to treat and produce the water that we drink and use in our homes.
Okay. So we use a combination of both energy and water so that water consumption can take place in our offices and in our homes. Last table.
We use energy and water to treat and produce the water that we drink and use in our homes.
Last table.
Water will always be available in some regions, but it will cost more to have it.
Okay. So water will always be available in some areas, but just that it will cost more to be able to access water. So those are some very good points that you brought up in your video. Now look at the experiments that you did. What do you think was the purpose of this activity? Most of your water has been filtered already. What do you think was the purpose of this experiment? What have you gathered from it? So take about 10 seconds to think about it. You don't need to share it with a group member, but on your own. What is the significance of this experiment that you did? Okay, our thinking time is over. Do I have any volunteers? We're going to start with Therese. Go ahead, Therese.
That there is a variety of other stuff that can affect our water quality.
Okay, that there is a variety of pollutants, right, that can affect our water quality. Excellent answer. Yes, Catrice? I'll have Catrice and then I'm going to have Erin share after that.
It shows how it starts with the little things we do that can cause pollution in water.
Okay, so it starts with the little things we do. And I'm glad at how you stated that, Catrice, because we're all students in here. And we might not realize that just shaving a pencil with a sharpener and showing the pencil shavings on the ground, on the street, in the schoolyard, that something like that can impact our water quality, right? We shave pencil on a daily basis, I would believe, right? We all use pencils and take paper and crumble it. If we get upset or we like, oh, I didn't want my paper to look like that, so you tear out the paper and you crumble it. Instead of throwing it in the garbage, we might throw it on the street. We might throw it in our schoolyards. We might throw it outside our windows. And we don't realize the effect that it might have on water quality eventually. If it rains, that water will rise and that will start to pollute the water that is there. It might go into drains or go back into the sea. It might go into rivers and streams. And even animals and human beings will need to access that water also. I'll have a last comment from Erin.
It shows us how we pollute the water and at the same time can be filtered.
At the same time, how we can filter it. Excellent response, Erin. That while it shows us how we pollute the water, it also shows us that there is a way that we can take polluted water, should we need to access water at any time, and filter it, right? How many of you have bought sugar that has in little grains of like brown grains, or we call it dirty sugar here in Belize, right? How many of you have mixed Kool-Aid and got upset because there are all that little debris floating on top, right? How do you get rid of the debris? By a raise of hands and sharing. How do you get rid of debris? Yes, Velkis?
You filter it.
You filter it, but with what? In your homes, tell me some of the household items that you might use.
Means I get a cloth and I just filter it.
A cloth? Okay, yes. I've known to steal my son his undershirt from time to time to filter something. Very good. Anyone else uses something else in their home? Yes, Catrice?
They have sieves.
Okay, you have sieves, right? What's another word for sieves? Our Creole word for sieve. What word do we use? Yes, Janelle?
A strainer.
A strainer, right? So we may use strainer to also sieve or filter out stuff. But in the event, like for example, you're in a village, they use other things to filter the water. Now they might not necessarily use that filtered water for drinking. They might still take it through a boiling process or a purification process, but it can be used to maybe flush the toilet or wash clothes or something like that. But that's an excellent point, that although there are ways of that water is being polluted, there are also ways in which we can filter the water. Now here's a little poem that says, today's rainwater is tomorrow's lifesaver. Save water, it will save you later. Think outside the sink, prohibit the drip, tap the tap, and put a stop to the drop. So that's a little cute poem that somebody wrote to allow us to start to think about ways in which we can conserve water in our homes. Has anybody here ever took on a water conservation project before? By a show of hands? No one has ever taken on a water conservation project? Well, that is going to be my challenge to you, that hopefully you are going to go back into your schools after watching this last video. You're going to go back into your schools and into your homes and into your communities, and you're going to share ways in which you can conserve waters, starting with things that you can do at home and at school. So kindly watch.
Hi, I'm Patty Kim from the Green Guide for Howdini.com. We're looking for simple solutions to green our homes, and we found a big problem that's sending our good intentions down the drain. I'm talking about how much water we waste every day. A lot of that waste happens right here in the bathroom. There's a reason Europeans call them water closets. From our toilets to our tubs, roughly 60% of all the water we consume in the home is used right here. So here's what you can do to cut that consumption in a meaningful way. First, an easy way to get big savings in water and energy is to install something called a low-flow shower head. And it looks like this. It'll not only cut your water usage by up to 20,000 gallons per year, but it'll save you at least 10% on the cost of heating your water. Another great idea, low-flow toilets. They're required for most new construction and use only a third of the water older toilets use. And if you put one of these guys on your faucet, it's called an aerator, you'll cut down on water use because the aerator actually mixes air bubbles into the stream, so you get just as much pressure with a lot less water. But let's say you don't want to spend any money on new fixtures. Well, here are 7 ways you can use less water without spending a dime. Number 1, turn the water off while brushing your teeth. Number 2, fill your sink with a little hot water and turn the faucet off while shaving. Number 3, fill a milk jug with stones and place it in your toilet tank to displace water. Number 4, fix any toilet and faucet leaks immediately. Number 5, don't use your toilet as a trash can. Number 6, reduce the time you spend showering by 2 minutes. And finally, number 7, as you're waiting for your bath water to warm up to the right temperature, you could actually save it to irrigate your lawn and flower beds later. You know, about 30% of the water we consume is used outdoors. Watering lawns and gardens is the biggest part of that. But here's a significant water drain you can cut out altogether. I'm talking about the weekly car wash. The average professional car wash uses about 35 gallons of water for each car. But if you do it yourself at home, odds are you'll use a lot more. You see, most garden hoses spray about 10 gallons per minute, so you can easily use up to 140 gallons of water, and you'll be sending oil, detergent, and other pollutants down the storm drain. Well, how about this for a novel idea? Something called a waterless car wash that you can actually spray on and wipe off without even a rinse. Well, EcoTouch's waterless car wash, this one here, uses just a few ounces of water per wash. And Lucky Earth's waterless car wash uses absolutely no water at all and will get you anywhere between 7 and 10 washes per bottle. And there you go, clean and green. I'm Patty Kim from the Green Guide for Howdini.com.
Of all these 7 ideas that she gave you, which one do you think you can use almost immediately to conserve water in your home? Yes, Rodolfo.
Miss, placing a filled jar with stones into the back of your toilet to conserve
so you
the
can
water.
fill the milk jugs. Here we have some in milk jugs, but you'll find them more useful from our orange juice, right? We usually buy our orange juice in cartons like that, and you can find another kind of container that is similar to that, and you can put stones in there and you set it in your water tank. And what it does, it takes up space in the tank, the reservoir of your toilet, and so less water will be in there. And when you flush the toilet, it's going to use less water to flush the toilet. So Rodolfo, you think you're going to try? Definitely. So I can call your mom next week and ask her, is there a gallon or a half gallon of stones in your toilet reservoir? Okay, excellent. How many people think that they are going to give it a try? So remember, rather than just taking the stones and putting it in a gallon and putting it in your bathroom and surprising mom and dad or sister or whoever, we should take the time, a minute or two, to explain to them that this is a great idea that I learned on how we can save water and it's going to cut down your water bill, right? And if they're a little bit iffy about it or questionable, you say, let's try it just for a day then. And if it works, and you see that no pipes get damaged or nothing gets damaged inside, then we'll keep it. Last comment from Catrice.
Yes, can you use 2 of the bottles in the toilet or no?
Can you use 2 of the bottles? I am not sure if you can use 2 of the bottles, Catrice, because remember the reservoir for the tank is a little bit small, right? So depending on the size of the reservoir, then you can more or less think about using 2. Or maybe if a gallon can fit in there, a gallon size, you know, we have our water gallons. So it depends on the size of your reservoir. Then you can choose a container that can match it, right? But good question. Now, our final activity, which is going to be your exit activity, is going to be called parking lot. Now, this parking lot activity entails several questions. However, all of you will not be addressing the questions. On your tables, you have a parking lot. We have parking lot A, B, C, and D. And there are several, and there's one question on each parking lot that I need you to quickly discuss with your group members. The questions that are on there are, what change can you make in your home to reduce water consumption? You're to state one only. How does water quality affect health? How does climate change affect water consumption? And why is water important to women and children? So I need you to take your parking lot and put it in front of you or in front of the person who is going to write. You discuss your answer You're going to record it on the parking lot. We're going to have a final discussion, and then we're going to have the conclusion of your lesson. Now you have 2 minutes to respond to your question as a group. Okay, I'm going to start this group here. You're just going to quickly read your question, and then you're going to share your response. We're going to go anti-clockwise. So we'll have parking lot D, then parking lot C, B, and last A. So let's begin. Can I have the others listening?
What change can you make in your home to reduce water consumption? In general, when shaving, fill the basin with hot water. We fill the basin with hot water to conserve more water instead of having the water running. And plus, it is good for hygiene because it sterilizes the shaver whenever you're shaving.
Okay, that's an excellent example. Give them a round of applause. Wonderful answer. Parking lot C.
How does climate change affect water consumption? It affects water consumption by flooding, produces unhealthy water to consume, and drought causes no water at all for human survival.
Wonderful answer. Excellent. Give her a round of applause. And your group. I'm very proud of you guys so far. Good job. Parking lot B.
The question is, why is water important to women and children? State one reason.
Water is very vital and is a key element to life itself, because without water, our earth would have no life at all. And this is very important to the women and the children because they use the most water for hygiene uses, cooking, and taking care of their body.
Okay, excellent answer. Give that group a round of applause. And our final, but not last group, we have parking lot A.
How does water quality affect health? This one.
It can get you sick with diseases such as cholera, dysentery, malaria, and diarrhea.
Excellent answer. Give them a round of applause. Right. As I explained to parking lot A, that malaria is more of a vector-borne disease because it is passed by the mosquito. However, because of lack of poor water quality or having puddles and so poor sanitation and pollution, it also ends up affecting our health. So that was a very good answer from them. Also, other ways that it can affect us is through malnutrition. If we don't have water, it can lead to malnutrition. If we don't consume enough water, we can also get several different types of diseases, right? So give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for your participation. And remember my challenge that you need to go back into your homes and into your school and start some type of water conservation project. And we will be checking on you to see that it happens. Thank you, class.